Hello YouTube. In this video we're going to talk about passwords and security. Why strong passwords and multi-part authentication are so important. So what is a password? A password is a secret word or phrase you must use in order to gain admission or access into something. In the PC world, it's further defined as a string of characters that allow access to a computer interface or system. Back in the Prohibition days, and even still today, there are clubs and bars that use a password or passphrase in order to gain entry into the establishment. Back in the Prohibition days, these establishments were called speakeasies. If you know the secret word or phrase, you were allowed in, and without said word or phrase, you would remain locked out. Today, almost everything to deal with computers and their use or users are protected by a password of some sort in order to protect the user's data and ensure that only the authorized user or users can access said data. Password security? A password can be a very good means of providing security. The real question is, how does it provide the security? Let's go back to the speakeasy scenario. There was a guard that sat at the door, and when a wannabe patron knocked on the door, a small slot would open on the door, and the guard would ask for the password. If the person knew what the password was, they were allowed entry. If they didn't, they would usually be told to leave and were denied entry. Not knowing what the password was stopped someone from getting into a more secure and access-controlled establishment. The computer works in much the same way. There is an authorizing agent in almost all systems where the password can be set up or be required that are used to protect the system from unauthorized users from gaining access to the system or its resources. The flaw to a password is, what if someone can guess or find a way to figure out that password? Back in the Prohibition days, if the password to the speakeasy stayed the same and were common words easy to guess, eventually a person could guess the correct password and gain entry. People would also pay others whom had the password to get in and get the information to be able to gain access. This caused the establishment to change the password regularly and make it more complex by adding words or making them phrases rather than a single common word. Computers have this exact same flaw. If the password is something too simple or common, it can be easily guessed. If the password is your phone number, a birth date, a name, anything easy to find out that is tied in with the individual, it makes it easy to find out the information to guess the password. So how can I make a secure password? Well, make the password longer, as a longer password is much more difficult to guess. Add in randomized capital letters, numbers, and sometimes additional words. Add in a special character if allowed. For example, the @ sign, pound sign, dollar sign, exclamation point, percentile, and sign, question mark. Avoid simple common words or phrases. Avoid using information common to you, like birthdays, names, phone numbers. Avoid using predefined default passwords. An example secure password is capital S3 CUR3 capital P at SSWRDS at R3 capital K 3Y exclamation point. What does this actually equal to? Secure passwords are key. So it's a passphrase that has a combination of capital letters, special characters, and numbers to obscure what the password actually is. So what is a multi-part authentication? Multi-part authentication uses multiple points in order to identify the user to the authorization agent that allows the user that user is whom they claim to be, and they're allowed access to what they're trying to access. Multi-part authentication can require something you know, something you have, or a part of you. Biometric scanners that read fingerprints, retinas, or your hands exist in many forms and are even used in cell phones and computers for home consumers. This fits the part of you category. Something you know would be a password or passphrase. Something you have would be like a random key token, a smart card, a USB key, a cell phone, something that you plug into the system for authentication. So what is two-part authentication? Two-part authentication uses only two of the multi-part authentication devices. You might have to put in a password and then a key from a key token or a cell phone, or plug in a smart card or USB device. You might have to put in a password and then scan your fingerprint, retina, or hand. In any case, you will have to provide two forms of proof that you are whom you say you are in order to gain access to your computer, data, or system in which you're attempting to access. Many cell phones, computers, and websites are starting to switch over to two-part authentication because it's far more secure than just a password or PIN, as the programs used to guess even complex passwords are getting better and better all the time. Yahoo Mail, Gmail, Outlook, formerly Hotmail, are all already switched over to supporting two-part authentication, and Facebook, along with many others, are quickly following this trend for added security measures. Most of them are starting to tie in a device as something you have, which most of everyone has today, their cell phone. This is done through either a special app on the device, or they send a PIN code to the device the user has to put in to gain access to their system. Multi-part authentication pros and cons. Pros: it's much more secure, much harder to guess, much harder to duplicate, and extremely difficult to bypass. Cons: what you have could be lost or stolen. You could have an accident that changes a part of you. Access to authorized users is easy to be denied due to small or technical issues. And extra authentication measures are much more difficult to reset. As you can see in this image over here, this is an example of a multi-part user authentication. The user, with the username and password, tries to sign in. The system uses a multi-factor authentication, so it throws in a token ID or passcode, sends it to their cell phone. Here's the passcode. They put in the passcode, and it authenticates and lets them in. I'd like to thank you for your time on this, and this information's out there for absolutely everybody. As always, watch, like, and share. Have a great day.